race car spelled backwards is still race car. Welcome to the Race Car Spelled Backwards podcast. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Race Car Spelled Backwards. We are here in the Darn Barn studio, getting ready to kick off episode 11. Jamie, 11 episodes, and we are still doing this.
You know, our favorite driver drives the 11 car.
Oh, Danny?
Danny's better.
Danny Hampton?
Danny Hampton.
Old Denny.
Squeaky, complaining Danny Hampton.
Hey, man, he's the happiest driver in NASCAR right now. Not sure why he's happy. I'm just kidding. Denny is not happy.
I don't think he's happy with his team, but anyway.
Denny hasn't been happy in a long time. So, coming off of Talladega, man, that was an awesome race. Race where we saw Noah Gragson win the 31st running of the Xfinity race at Talladega. 10 cautions, 3 overtime green-white checkers to get it right, but at the end of all that, Gragson came out on top.
Sure wanted Jeffrey to win it.
Man, I was pulling hard for Jeffrey. I mean, seeing him win the pole, seeing Larry Mack on top of the pit box, seeing a black number 3 for RCR back out on the track.
Is that Jeffrey's best finish?
I would be willing to bet it is. I know he's never won an Xfinity race, so finishing second that's next to winning. Right next to it, like directly.
Well, like his grandfather, he came in second quite a bit at Daytona.
Well, for me, it wasn't so much seeing Jeffrey in that car. I think it's cool. It's a great story to see an Earnhardt back behind the number 3. But to see Larry Mack on the pit box and still be relevant, that was what was cool.
He came in second, and he's with RCR. It's like, wow.
It's like going back home for him.
Like going back in time.
Because that's where he did all that with Dale Earnhardt was at RCR. So what he said, anytime he gets an opportunity to sit on top of a pit box for a black number 3 with an Earnhardt behind the wheel, he'll take it every time.
Well, I hope we see it again in the fall.
If I'm not mistaken, it was put together by Austin. Austin Dillon's the guy who put it together.
I won't complain about Austin then for about another week or two.
Yeah, take 2 weeks off of Austin complaining.
Yeah, Austin does some things that surprises me, where I like the guy, and then he does some things that I don't like him.
I think he does more things off the track that I like than he does on the track, but I don't know. I was never a big Austin Dillon fan. But then on Sunday, we had the 53rd running of the Talladega Cup race. Ross Chastain goes out there in his road course COTA winning car and wins at Talladega. That makes 0 sense to me.
Well, they wanted the car to be a jack of all trades. I guess they've proved that it has been.
Yeah, but
except for short courses.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about this. 2 years ago, heck, last year, if you would have told me somebody was taking their COTA car to Talladega, I would have laughed at you.
Yeah, I would have said, it's not going to happen that fast.
Well, I mean, it's 2 different disciplines. One track you go left and right, and one track you go 200 miles an hour, a quarter inch off the guy in front of you, and a half an inch off the guy beside you, and you're bump drafting going left only. So,
but if we look at the new car, the only thing they got to fix is the short tracks. That's it. Unless there's dirt on it.
Well, we go to your favorite track, Dover, next weekend.
I love Dover.
Yeah, I'm scared Dover's going to be a shit show, just like Richmond and Martinsville. So I was glad to see such an exciting race this weekend at Talladega before we move into that race.
But they got some banking.
How much?
On Dover.
I don't even know what the banking is at Dover.
Oh, I got it for the end of the show. Let's see if it's... I think it's in there. I saw it. Let's see. Banking. We'll worry about it later.
It's a 1 mile track.
This will be our teaser. Guys, stay tuned for the track info.
Yeah, listen to the whole episode. So, here we go. Let's start on Talladega. For me, it was a win-win situation. Personally, I love Super Speedway racing. I love to watch the cars draft together at 200 miles an hour, inches off each other, just beating and banging. It's like short track racing at 200 miles an hour on a 2.5 mile track. And I absolutely love it. I don't think you need to have the big one. I don't think you need to have cautions.
We didn't have the big one. If you think about it, we had a couple of mid-sized ones.
Yeah, but you don't need all that for it to be a good race at Talladega.
No, because what I love watching is when the outside row organizes. I love to see them just come and push it. Just push it. And then I like to see them bailing out on their buddies, dropping to the bottom, screwing them over. It's awesome.
So you're a fan of super speedway racing?
Oh, yeah. I like the free-for-all.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, if you look on Twitter, Facebook, any social media today, or listen to anything on Sirius XM radio, a lot of fans call in and complain. I hear more complaints after Daytona, Atlanta, or a Talladega Super Speedway race than I do after just about any other racetrack we go to on XM radio. Fans complain. What I don't get, though, and it's kind of funny to me, is they complain about those three tracks, Atlanta, Daytona, and Talladega, yet those tracks always seem to sell out or dang near sell out. They're full capacity. I think it said there was 150,000 people roughly at Talladega this weekend.
I mean, the stands aren't wrong. I mean, I love being in the stands. And back to Atlanta. They turned it to a super speedway. It was an awesome race. I mean,
yeah, and I think we saw good racing at Talladega just like we did at Atlanta and Daytona. Now, I will say this. Unlike Daytona, we didn't see a whole lot of three-wide racing at Talladega. I know during that first stage, you had the third lane got to working and pulled up, and they had a little bit of three-wide, at least with 3 rows, of racing, 3 lanes of racing. Not necessarily 3 wide, but 3 lanes. But after stage 1, you really never saw the outside lane take off.
Well, towards the end of the race, they tried the last few laps.
Oh, they were trying everything they could to wreck, it seemed like. But
they did. They were able to wreck.
Well, they got it coming to the start-finish line. But like I was saying about that 3 wide, I heard somebody call in on XM radio today and complain about it, which is really what made me. I didn't even notice it, honestly, until they complained about it. And I went back and watched the replay of the race this morning, and they're right. You didn't see a lot of the 3 wide racing, and it also looked like it took the pack of cars longer to build momentum up to pull away or to get going.
Do you think the drivers learned from Atlanta because they try to get a third? Every time you were 3 wide, there was a wreck in the new car.
At Atlanta?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you tried to go 3 wide, bam, there was a wreck.
Well, maybe that was it. But Atlanta is a more narrow track. It's 1.5 miles versus a 2.5.
And when they repaved it, they made it even narrower.
Yeah. But at Daytona, you didn't see a problem. I mean, heck, at Daytona this year, they ran 3 wide most of the race, I felt like.
And I might be wrong, isn't Talladega wider than Daytona?
It looks like it, just visually. I know it's a little longer than your start-finish lines.
Was it 2.66 miles?
Yeah. Well, your start-finish line's closer to turn 1 and 2. I mean, it is different, but none of that has ever been a factor before. The only difference in the whole equation is the car. Now, before, when they would get in the draft, 2 cars would get up against each other in the draft. The lead car would redirect the air over the hood of the car behind it, and it had no air hitting the front of the car to slow it down, making the second car faster, allowing him to get up to the first car and push him, so they both went faster together. And the more cars you add to that equation, the faster everybody goes.
Don't you think that rear diffuser has a lot to do with that?
Has everything to do with it, because now the air goes under the car. The rear diffuser redirects the air under the car into the grill opening of the car in front of it and under that car too. So essentially there's very little air or less air going over the top of these cars. It's kind of the air is what links them together as it runs under the cars versus over the cars before. So the car's the only difference in this. The only different thing in the equation is the car. Now the air's running under them versus over them. And we saw what we saw at Talladega. We saw runs take longer to get going. The momentum took longer to build. It looked like it was harder for people to pull out and pass. And honestly, you didn't see guys pulling out to start that run like they did at Daytona. And I think it all goes back to the cars and the draft and the air.
But Hemrick said he was pushing too hard and his temperature got up 15 degrees and then he lost the cylinder.
Well, I mean, that's the risk you got to take. I mean, like I said, to me, it looked like these cars struggled to get together and get going and to have a run. Where at Daytona in off-season testing, we saw tandem drafting work together. Then at the Daytona 500, we saw tandem work, but 3, 4, 5 cars could link up at Daytona and go faster than what I saw them do at Talladega. What's different between Daytona and Talladega? There's no sand on the track. I mean, maybe it's that Indian burial ground that the track was built on and that the Juju curse.
Maybe it's a ghost of some old Air Force pilots that crashed before it was a track.
Well, maybe it was those ghosts who caused Cody Ware to strike again.
Oh, God, Cody Ware. Cody Ware he's just...
You're an idiot.
Oh, yeah, Cody, you're an
idiot.
Definitely, he's an idiot.
Oh, I love my new toy. And Cody Ware is an idiot.
I mean, the dude spins out coming to green flag pit stops. I mean, he's the only one to spin out. Now, yeah, Brad Keselowski was going a little hot and got a speeding penalty, but he didn't spin out.
Didn't Brad get a couple of speeding penalties?
Yeah, Brad was...
There was something wrong with him. He needs to get off the juice.
He was racking them up. He looked like he was out there speeding on 20. But, I mean, so Cody Ware spins out trying to pit. Luckily, he had the brains to get out of the way and not have a caution be thrown, because Mike Joy was like, all right, here comes a caution, and then luckily he got to moving, so we never had that caution. But at lap 107, he spins again by himself, hits the wall, brings out another caution. At what point does NASCAR need to step in and say, Mr. Cody Ware, your talent level does not match the required talent level to drive in the Cup Series? Maybe you should spend a few years in the ARCA Series, Truck Series, or the Xfinity Series. Maybe you spend a year in each. Work your way back up. But if we're supposed to have the, 36, 38 best drivers in the world on the track, throwing Cody Ware in there ruins that for me.
I don't get how they haven't just said, hey, man, you need to get some more laps under your belt in the Truck or Xfinity Series. We've been talking about him since he came to Cup, about how horrible he is. He's a speed bump. He's an obstacle. We have, I'm going to try a new word. I got a friend that uses it all the time. We have discussed this to ad nauseum. Is that right?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I mean, if Cody Ware leaves, that's a segment of our show we'll lose. And I mean, we get at least 5 minutes every single week complaining about some stupid move that one of the Rick Ware drivers, namely, it's usually Cody.
I mean, didn't they say, he cut a tire when he was on pit road? But I didn't see the tire flat till after he hit the wall.
He cut a tire from hitting the wall.
That's what I'm thinking.
When he wrecked on lap 107, he hit the wall. He might have cut a tire. I don't know. You know, I like to complain and say it's just piss poor driving on his part, but maybe he did cut a tire. But still, even if he cut a tire, he has the worst luck of any driver out there.
He's an idiot. I can't do it as good as the app. Sorry.
He would win my What an Idiot award if I was on Door Bumper Clear. That's a fact.
If he ever wins a race, I will put on sumo wrestler pants, which is basically a thong, and run across our front yard and let my wife videotape it, and I'll post it on the website.
Now I'm hoping Cody Ware never wins a race.
He'll never win a race, or I wouldn't have said that.
You look like the guy down on Talladega Boulevard running around with a tire hanging around your waist and nothing else.
And I'll wear an Alabama hat inside out.
Yep.
So I'll look like most of their fans.
Roll Tide.
Roll somewhere.
Well, then you had Daniel Hemrick blows a motor, getting him loose down on the apron, shoots him back up into traffic, and he hits Chase Briscoe. And I'll tell you what, that hit that Briscoe took, man, that was solid. It looked...
Pre-2001, somebody would have died.
Oh, you weren't... Pre-2001, you don't walk away from that.
There's a helicopter ride to Birmingham.
Which sucks, because Briscoe won the sprint car race Friday night at the dirt track.
I saw
I think
that.
it was a sprint car he was running. I know he won at the dirt track Friday night. So I hated to see him wreck on Sunday, but it happens.
Don't make it a habit, Chase. That's 2 Sundays in a row. Well, no, Saturday night last week.
Well, that wasn't his fault. I mean, he was wrong place, wrong time. That's an unfortunate side effect of super speedway racing. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you get caught up in somebody else's crap.
Well, my girl gets wrecked every week, so.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, Hemrick blew that motor. That was 2 Chevy motors. You had Tyler Reddick had blown a motor already as well. What I don't get is why. Why are we having motor failures? I mean, we got used last season or the season before that even, you would go months without seeing a motor blow, and yesterday we had 2, and I can think of a few other ones that are blown incidents throughout this season where we've had blown motors. So you're the mechanic. What did we change here? Why are we blowing motors?
I don't know. Did they put different motors in for this race? Was a rebuilder? I know you tear it down after every race. Was a rebuilder off his game, and he touched 2 of these?
I guess it would
telling.
I guess it would depend on what exactly broke.
Well, Hemrick admits he thinks he burned it up because he was pushing too hard. He said he ducked down, got a little more cool air. It dropped down in temperature, but then it came back. So you can run a car hot and blow some crap up, man.
What did they say with
warp that head?
Reddick? It was like a driveline issue or something, maybe.
I Googled it this morning. I didn't find where they had released any information what happened to Reddick.
Yeah, I don't think maybe they're not 100% sure. That'll come out this week.
Yeah, they'll tear it down and look at it.
It's still crazy to see 2 motors from the same camp, and both were ECR engines. ECR motors were in 10 of the cars on the track yesterday. So
remember, was it 3 years ago? Toyotas just were blowing up all over the place.
it hadn't been that long ago.
It's a quality control issue, I think. I don't think it's someone made the same mistake twice. There's no telling.
So you think Daryl back at ECR?
Well, we saw him at the race, and if he was drinking too much before he, put those pistons in there,
Daryl, put that beer down.
Could have scraped a piston wall, screwed it up.
It's easier to put those parts in that motor if you put that beer down. Take that cigarette out of your mouth, Daryl.
I wish they would break it down and take pictures, show us what broke.
I guarantee you they'll tell you what broke, but they might not show you pictures of what broke. NASCAR might not want pictures getting out. Not right now.
Well, we do have a part shortage.
So, also what happened during the first couple stages of this race, you have Bubba Wallace pushing Joey. So let me break this down for you.
Joey ended up where he belonged.
Wrecked.
Uh-huh.
So there's 2 trains of thought here. For me, you almost want to say thank you, Bubba, because at some point Joey was going to throw a late, piss-poor, half-ass block.
Oh, he would have caused the big one, yeah.
It was coming. So really, Bubba Wallace, by wrecking Joey early, prevented the big one at the end.
That's true. And maybe that's what he was doing. I mean, imagine if Joey had made it to the last lap, he would have wrecked, There have been 20 cars in that accident. Cody Ware would have been 3/4 of a lap down.
He missed it all.
His spotter would not have said anything.
Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl wouldn't have told him anything, and he would have. Maybe you'd be see me running around in my sumo outfit, but thankfully, Bubba fenced him.
Yeah, well, I was actually what I thought was funny about the whole thing was on the broadcast yesterday. After this happened, Dale Jr. went straight into attacking Freddie Kraft, his spotter. He's like, Freddie has to tell Bubba what's going on behind him and in front of him. So then they replay the audio, and you hear Freddie telling Bubba what's going on in front of him and behind him. And Dale Jr. is like, well, he had the information. I guess he has to choose to listen. And obviously Bubba chose not to listen to that information because he kept pushing Joey. What was weird is this happened at the start of the race, the start of that lap. They were going green. They weren't even up to speed yet. So it looked like, after watching the replay to me, that Martin Truex Jr. let off the gas to allow the car behind him to catch up with him so he would have a better push, which then in turn bunched up Joey and Bubba just drove through Joey because he didn't know it was coming. But I'm not mad at Bubba. I just think Bubba might have been pushing a little too hard, a little too early.
Well, he's a Super Speedway king, right?
That's what they say. He's won one race there, so he's definitely an expert by now.
Yeah, I like Bubba.
Where'd he finish at yesterday?
Way back there.
Oh, yeah. He finished 17th. I actually have that later on in our show notes. Denny Hamlin and his 2311 drivers finished 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's like a 1-2-3 for losers.
I think when I was watching the race, I saw Denny lead for a moment, and then it stopped.
Everybody must have been pitting.
It was pit road. It was.
You sure that wasn't the beginning of the race?
Yeah.
Well, other than those two blown motors Chevy had, I was actually very surprised to see how well Chevy ran and worked together going into Talladega.
Right, there was a time there that
It was a Ford
Hendrick was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, yeah, yesterday?
Yeah.
But going into Talladega, it's been Ford. Ford has stunk up the show when it comes to super speedway racing because they work well together on the track. They have a lot of numbers. They pit together religiously. So Ford's got this down. Well, yesterday, Ford didn't seem to have their crap together, and Chevy did. Chevy was pitting together. Chevy stayed together. You saw the Hendrick boys run together all day long. I mean, you could have put a tow chain on that 24 and that 5 car for the majority of the race. They were literally Matt DiBenedetto hooked together. So, heck, there was sometimes I was wondering if they were going to blow motors because they stayed hooked together. But I'm a Chevy guy, so I'm not complaining, man. I love to see Chevy come back and dominate again at a super. Heck, they won. Ross Chastain, that's a Chevy driver.
Won.
But we've complained about these bumpers. We've complained about them not lining up, not pushing well. We didn't really see that issue as much yesterday. They looked like they worked very well together. I'm thinking that the Team Chevy president's like, hey, boys, y'all need to get it together.
Oh, he's probably saying, if we had any computer chips, we'd sell some cars.
Oh, I don't think they're having a problem selling what they got, though.
No, and they're getting one hell of a markup.
Well, then we go into Stage 3. Stage 3 was the longest stage at 68 laps, if I'm not mistaken, with 0 cautions. That is, to my recollection, has never happened since we went stage racing, but it's also proof that we can run these races without wrecking the whole field.
Well, like we said earlier, there was not a big one, and it was still... I get concerned with the big one. I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we can prevent those from happening...
Well, I mean, you look at the last 3 laps. To me, the last 3 laps were phenomenal, actually. It was very action-packed. I think we would have had the big one if we wouldn't have had the last 3 laps of racing. Like, so what I mean by that is before the final lap, everybody 10th and back just went crazy trying to jockey for position, and instead of it being 2 wide, single file all the way back through 35th or whatever, however many cars were left at that point, you broke that up and you were single file only. So you had 10 cars basically who could win the race because the rest of them took themselves out of contention by going crazy on lap 3. Well, then we come to the final lap. You didn't really have the amount of cars there to cause the big one. So when we come off turn 4 and the 45 and the 5 got together, putting the 45 in the wall, starting a chain reaction back, taking Bubba Wallace and a handful of other drivers out as well.
Did you see that little dip? It was Chastain, wasn't it? He did a little dip and then came up like he lost it for a second, and that's when Kirk hit the wall. Little wiggle.
Was that coming out of turn 4?
Uh-huh.
So I didn't know this until yesterday. I believe Dale Jr., or maybe it was Larry McReynolds or somebody, pointed it out on the broadcast. Before they had the tunnels, they used to, over in turn 4, they would let the hauler drivers cross the track, and that created a dip over the years of the drivers of the hauler, big heavy haulers going across the track from the infield back in and out of the track. And over time, it created a dip. So I wonder if that's what you saw there.
Might have been.
I mean, Ross Chastain had quite a few moments where he got a little dicey trying to throw blocks or move up and down late. He wasn't always spot on with his blocking, but Ross is an aggressive driver.
He won. Getting a little tired of that little tomato he pops on the track, though.
That ain't tomatoes.
Isn't that a tomato? It was red. I saw it when it busted open. It's a mater.
They call him the watermelon man.
It's a mater man.
They don't call him mater.
Tomater.
They call him the water mater.
A water mater.
You know, they said that watermelon was purchased the same time that Coda watermelon was purchased. So that one's been rolling around the back of the hauler for weeks now. So you know it wasn't the sweetest.
But he's got to eat it, which I wouldn't eat it after it was busted on the road.
I was proud of him for asking.
5-second rule?
I was proud of him for asking Reagan, like, do I have a seed in my beard? Because I don't need another stupid Fox pre-race skit of a giant watermelon seed singing. Reagan's like, yeah, I got you, man. You're good.
And as we said, it's the on-camera guys that are great. It's those idiots that come up with that crap.
During that final lap, Bubba Wallace took a hard hit into the wall.
Yeah, he was dizzy when he got out. You see him just standing there and dipping down like he was going to hurl.
Well, I saw Denny Hamlin posted on Facebook pain, and I'm assuming that was in regards to how Bubba felt, because when I was listening to the post-race coverage on Sirius XM, Bubba Wallace's mom, she called in, and she was just to update and let everybody know that he was okay.
I don't know if I want my mom to call some people an update.
Well, she did very well. She wasn't emotional. She kept her emotions out of it. It was just straight to the point. You know, hey, Bubba reached out and let me know he's a little sore, but overall he's okay. And that was that. And then they kept asking her questions, and it was like she cut them off and moved on. What was even funnier about the post-race coverage is they went in and interviewed Kid Rock. So, you know, Bobby in Alabama, he's definitely going to be there. So they went over to Claire B. Lane. She's like, Mr. Kid Rock. Dude was hammered.
Is it Mr. Rock?
No.
Or Mr. Kid Rock? Does he go by
Bobby.
The full name?
He goes by Bobby.
Well, that's his real name.
When she went up and started talking to him, he introduced himself. He's like, what's your name? She's like, Claire B. Lane. He's like, well, Claire, my name's Bobby. Now that we're friends, you can call me Bobby. But dude was hammered. His answers made 0 sense. They would ask a question, he would get off on a rant like, been at the Waffle House drinking all day.
Where can you drink at a Waffle House? I need to go to that one.
In Alabama.
Oh, okay. But it's moonshine. It's not legal, right?
Well, it's bring your own beer.
Oh, okay.
You're drinking in the cook's car.
Well, he did remake Sweet Home Alabama.
Well,
He's about as redneck as you can get from Michigan.
that's a fact. He probably lives in Alabama. I think he does live in Alabama.
No, I think he lives in Nashville. I saw,
Oh, yeah, he's got that bar in Nashville.
Tootsie's.
Tootsie's.
Which I thought when my kids were little, that's what we called a fart. Did you Tootsie?
Tootsie?
Uh-huh.
So he went to Farts Bar?
Uh-huh. He named it after farts. But there was what was that show where they used to go into the rich people's houses? Pimp My House? No, that was a
Cribs.
ride. Cribs. He had a mansion double wide. I think it was a quadruple wide or something in Nashville.
No.
In the middle of his farm. Yeah. Google
I
it.
wonder if he really lives in that.
Probably not.
Well, he was hammered on Claire B. Lane.
Isn't he always hammered?
Maybe he was stoned. Who knows? He could have been both. I mean, he was partying it up. You know, he's dumping a lot of money into Trackhouse for sponsorship, although he's putting his money more or less behind Daniel Suarez, and Suarez wrecked. So, I think Daniel Suarez has had a lot of bad luck.
There it is. Kid Rock says he lives in a double wide because it's easy to replace.
After a tornado.
But don't they attract tornadoes? Isn't that like a magnet for tornadoes?
Well, maybe that's why he doesn't want to move out of where he lives at. He likes the tornado area he lives in, so he just sticks with double wides.
Look at that picture of him. He looks like he's at Talladega already, doesn't he?
Oh, he is. No shirt and jorts.
He's got a little pouch there now. He's hit middle age.
Yep, that's beer belly. He's been on the boulevard.
That's from Waffle House and beer.
That's that beer at the Waffle House. You know, that's my dad used to own a company up in North Georgia, the Kennesaw, Georgia area. Across the street's the Waffle House where Kid Rock got into a fight with that dude and got arrested. Over there in Kennesaw, you
Was
remember
your
that?
dad involved in that?
No, but I know where the Waffle House is because of my dad's company. That's the only reason I know about it.
Okay.
Well, yet again, Denny Hamlin's pissed off. I know that's a
he's
shocker.
never pissed.
He should, like I said earlier, he shouldn't be mad. His drivers finished 1, 2, 3. I mean, 16th, 17th, 18th.
I mean, I've never run out of gas. He ran out of gas.
With 2 laps to go, man.
What an idiot.
You're the only. If we weren't running a gas race, you know, it was not trying to. It wasn't a fuel mileage race. Everybody else had plenty of gas to finish the race except Denny.
How did that happen?
That's on his crew chief. Somebody should be fired this morning.
Dumb.
Well, maybe he's
That's
pissed.
a Cody Ware mistake.
Maybe let's be the conspiracy theorist. Maybe his crew chief say, you know what? None of the Joe Gibb drivers are really pissed off right now. So I think if I give my driver 2 less laps of gas and he runs out with 2 laps to go, he'll be pissed off.
And he can finish right there with his team.
Well, then you keep it running, you know? You keep the streak alive. Every weekend, somebody's pissed.
Well, and it's usually Denny. Well, you know.
It was Kyle.
Yeah, it
Which
was
Kyle's still pissed.
pissed.
But Denny wins a race at, Richmond?
And he's pissed.
He was pissed, and he's absolutely sucked. 100% sucked since he won that race. I think Cody Ware is outrunning him in some instances. Not yesterday. Not by no means.
Well, this is total fiction, but Cody Ware, he spun out because his gas man, he requested diesel. Like I said, this is total fiction. No one repeat this.
Don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
It's a secret. Yeah, but what's his name? Denny, he even dropped points yesterday. He went down in the points instead of up. I mean, yes, he's got that win. He's now 24th in the points. Cody Ware's 32nd. BJ McLeod's 33rd. You notice when BJ McLeod spun out yesterday, Mike Joyce said, "Oh, there goes BJ McLeod." I thought he said McClown.
That's what I thought he said.
I was like, that's fitting. Because they're down to 2 cars now. They're going to be a 2-car organization.
Has the Biff finished a race yet?
Dude.
Is his car made out of cardboard?
I think it's made out of cardboard, paper, duct tape, and silly putty.
I mean, that car is incapable, man.
I don't think you can.
He needs to. I mean, he won that race for Kyle Busch in the truck. Was it 2 years ago or 3?
Well, maybe he should just go drive for Kyle Busch in the truck.
Well, of course, Kyle's going to take that seat.
I don't know. Well, Trackhouse Racing, did you expect to see them as a 2-time winner in 2022?
I thought Suarez and Mater Boy was going to both win this year. But Suarez, if he wins,
he's close.
That's 3 in a year. Two's amazing. I thought was going to be a great year for him this year. They got 2 now.
That should be a lot of encouragement to new team owners wanting to get in the sport or that are looking at getting in the sport. It should be encouragement. I mean, essentially, this is 2 years for that number 1 car. Because Trackhouse came in last year, bought Canassi. This is their first full season with that Canassi ownership.
I think Pitbull's putting a lot of money into that.
Well, you want to win. You got to spend money to win. You got Justin Marks, Pitbull.
He's doing it right.
Ty Norris. I mean, you got a lot of smart people there.
The way Gibbs came in, Gibbs started winning almost immediately. Money.
So, Trackhouse is the new Joe Gibbs.
That's what I'm saying, except they drive Chevys, which are better than Toyotas.
Wouldn't that be amazing to see Kyle Busch leave Joe Gibbs Racing and go to Trackhouse Racing?
That would be awesome.
I don't know that Trackhouse wants to put up with somebody like Kyle Busch.
I don't know, man. I mean, Kyle Busch is a prude because he loses. That means he's committed to winning, doesn't it?
Well, it's just like in our jobs. We'll put up with a lot of crap from guys if they spend a lot of money with us.
But we love all our dealers.
Yes, we love all our dealers.
Just like we love all our children. No, I like my children better.
I love my children a lot more.
Yeah. Take that back.
What about Dale Jr., man? Dale Jr. is like hot sauce. He makes everything better.
Dude, he did. He made it awesome. I mean,
it's the best Fox broadcast.
He's excited, he's emotional, and he was telling us what was going to happen before it happened.
He's legitimate.
What the hell?
He knows what he's talking about. He's relevant.
He's a retired race car driver that looks at racing as a fan. And that just, he blew me away. I'm telling you, he was better at Fox than I thought he was at NBC. So, Fox, pull out the checkbook.
I think he should do both.
I do too.
Why not? I think Clint was better.
Clint was better. Joy was better.
That's hard to say. Mike Joy is phenomenal. I mean, he is a veteran, but Dale Jr., Mike Joy, Clint.
Mike Joy has been calling this since I was born, and I'm not a youngster.
No, Mike Joy's. I've never watched a NASCAR race without a Mike Joy in it, or a NASCAR season that didn't include Mike Joy somewhere. So, I don't think it would be possible, and probably Dale don't want to do it. But a full season.
So let's give him the 6 super speedways, the two Daytonas, 2 Atlantas, and 2 Talladegas. That gives us 6. I mean, dude, the way he improved Fox, I mean, their ads still sucked, and they still did some stupid crap. But that's not him. As we've always said, the people in front of the camera are great, and he made them better.
I mean, I was able to look past all their BS mistakes they made yesterday because I had Dale Jr. in the booth. I mean, like I said, I paused it and came back to it so I could fast forward through some commercials, but I didn't want to miss a second of the actual broadcast because Dale Jr. was in the booth. Yes, I'm biased. I am a diehard, true, through and through Dale Jr. fan. Have been since early 2000s. But the guy definitely made a difference in the booth yesterday. It was by far the best Fox broadcast. Even though they made the stupid comic book character of Dale Jr., it was still better.
It is, and don't you F with my Earnhardts.
Well, other than that, Talladega was a good race. But other news, we got. What are you doing over there?
Dang it, my phone won't shut up.
Yeah, am I going to start taking your phone away before we record?
Oh, just like school.
So yesterday they asked Kyle Busch about his contract extension. Typical KFB smartass answer. He says,
What's that F stand for? Cal frickin' Busch?
Yep. That's
Okay.
exactly what it stands for.
All right, that's what I thought.
Everybody knows KFB. I can't say KB because you might think we're talking about our buddy Kevin. So I just say KFB, and you know we're not talking about our buddy Kevin.
Does KB listen? I don't think so.
Well, KB should listen. I have to give him a call.
Yeah, he should.
Well, when they asked Kyle Busch about it, his response was, I'm not getting antsy about it. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. Goodbye. And then he said, ask Joe Gibbs. So then they asked Joe Gibbs about it, and Joe's like, we're confident we're going to get things done. So we're just working hard at it. This stuff takes a while. And then Busch said, I'll probably end up driving a truck for my son Brexton anyway.
Not if he F1s it.
Brexton?
Yeah.
We still end up driving the truck for him.
You got to fly over that big, what do they call that place?
The ocean?
Yeah.
But you have to drive the car to the airplane.
Well,
So he's still got to drive the car.
maybe it'll fit in his new jet.
Brexton will go to the truck series. He won't drive Formula One.
I don't think you.
Kevin Harvick's son, on the other hand, might go Formula One.
Nah. There's a lot. I mean, there's so much you can do here in the United States.
Here's the thing for Keelan Harvick and Brexton Busch.
Keelan's kind of a European name.
Yeah, but
Maybe he'll go over.
Daddy made his name driving in NASCAR. Harvick, Busch, those are prominent names in NASCAR, so those two kids are going to have an opportunity with Daddy's money, sponsorship, and
You think
their last
Ganassi
name.
will put him in a car? I mean, he's over there in F1.
No, I think you'll see both of them in the truck series.
So you think they'll go to truck and then F1?
No, I think they'll go truck Xfinity Cup.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. I don't think you see them go. I think that Keelan will probably be a better rounded driver because his dad's going to put him in phenomenal equipment in any
Don't
series
you
he can
think
afford
Busch
to
is
put him
gonna
in.
put?
Yeah, but I think Brexton's going to take a more direct route to Cup or to truck series because Kyle has a truck. So Brexton's path is going to be leading him to truck, where Keelan's path is going to lead him to be a better, well-rounded driver, similar to Austin Cindric.
You think Brexton will have his dad's attitude?
He already does.
I haven't watched any of the little videos of him at little quarter midget races and all that fun stuff.
He's actually a very good driver. His dad's phenomenal, so you wouldn't expect any less from him, but when he loses, he's mad, and he'll take it, just like his dad. It comes off better from Kyle as an adult acting like a 2-year-old than it does from a 6-year-old acting like a 2-year-old. You know what I mean?
Think I could get in the Cup?
You might be able to wear a cup, but that's about that's about the extent of cup we're going to get.
I mean,
with you.
I'm a fantastic driver. You could ask our old boss, KB.
Yeah, KB was
He
scared
puckered
to death
in
to
his
drive.
seat a few times,
He was scared to death.
but we
to
didn't
drive with
die. I noticed he asked if he could drive when he rode with me after a couple of rides with me.
you. That's because KB set the cruise control
At
on-
55.
Yeah,
Oh
on the
my
speed limit.
God.
I mean, when he followed me one day. We were going around, and he was following me.
You had to
and
wait for him,
I
didn't
had
you?
to pull over on the side of the highway and wait on him to catch up twice just to get there.
Think his son has a chance in NASCAR?
Spotter maybe. If he drives like his daddy, he's never going to be a race. He would be really good at pit road speed.
So, who would be your loser bomb for the week? With a meat straw.
My loser bomb of the week, definitely 100% is going to go to not Cody Ware. I'm giving mine to Denny Hamlin's crew chief.
You're not giving it to Cody Ware?
Well, I'll let you give yours to Cody Ware.
I'm giving it to Cody. Cody, this will be the last time because I'm going to expect it in the future.
Well, we expect it every week, I think. But, I mean, Denny Hamlin's crew chief left him short 2 laps. He was the only one to do that, so he gets the LB award for me, and yours goes to Cody Ware. So
It's usually those two every week, isn't it?
Here lately. Cody Ware, definitely. We could rename it from the LB award to the CW award.
Maybe they should put a gas gauge in the little digital gauges there.
Or the LC.
The Larry
Cody.
Cody?
The LC award.
The Larry Cody. Huh.
Hey, Chase Elliott's still leading the points. Ryan Blaney second in the points, and neither one of them have a win. Let me just throw that out there.
They finished well. I mean, they're going to have a win before the season's up. I like both of them.
If Chase doesn't win, his fans are probably going to tear the fence down. You know, Chase Elliott fans don't take defeat very well.
No, we're kind of like Kyle Busch fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Except Daryl shoots his finger off at Kyle Busch every lap.
Yeah, I ain't got that kind of.
I'd have to take Viagra.
I'm not that committed to hating Kyle Busch where I'm going to stand up at Atlanta and hold the bird out.
I would get tired after half the race and have to take a Viagra and shoot something else at him.
Well, talking about Fox, race coverage was 3 hours and 40 minutes or 220 total minutes, however you want to look at it. We had 51 minutes of traditional cautions. It felt like, not cautions, traditional commercials. It felt like every 10 laps we went to commercial. We had 51 minutes of that crap and only got 12 minutes of side-by-side commercials. We had 158 total commercials. Out of the 158 commercials, 28 of them were side-by-side and 130 of them were traditional. Why even have side-by-side? 12 minutes of side-by-side commercials. That's 6 minutes of commercial break. That's 2 commercial breaks that were side-by-side.
Brad, do you
Every week, I know.
Is this from... Do you have a website you can go to, or do you actually keep track of this stuff? These statisticals are crazy.
Yeah, that's not my statisticals.
Oh, you do find it somewhere else?
Yeah, I get my commercial breakdown off of jski.com, which is owned by ESPN, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I watch a video cast or YouTube from J-Ski.
Yeah, so I get all my commercial break. Actually, I get a lot of my stats and news and stuff from J-Ski. I use
thanks, J-Ski.
What's the other one? NASCAR Reference or RacingReference.com. I use to get my statisticals. So
yeah, I love watching J-Ski's videos.
Like I said, Fox way better with Dale Jr. But did you listen to the Teardown by chance?
I have not this week.
So Jeff Gluck brought up Fox. He's like, a lot of people were complaining about the commercial breaks every 10 minutes or every 10 laps. We had a commercial, especially considering the F1 race was on before the NASCAR race. And they're like, we just watched the F1 race, Jeff, and we had no commercials. Duh. That happens every week. Every week, the same idiots complain. Did they finally just
watch the same thing? Really?
We can complain about it, but it's not going to change.
Up until last week, I could say Fox had no wins. Now they got one.
Dale Jr.?
Dale Jr. We'll give him a win.
Fox only has a win because Dale Jr. came out of the woodwork from NBC and helped them out.
Maybe we ought to give a KB award for things we like. That's a KB.
KB?
Not an LB.
So the KB award this week goes to Dale Jr. or the guy at Fox who asked if Dale Jr. could be on the broadcast.
Whoever came up with that gets the KB award.
Or the person.
Yep.
Whoever that person was wins.
Thank you, whoever that person is at Fox. Fox guy.
We greatly appreciate you getting Dale Jr. Actually, I heard the reason Dale Jr. was on the program had more to do with that football league than anything.
What football league?
The new super duper
Useful?
not NFL.
Useful.
Is that what it's called?
USFL? Useful.
Useful, yeah.
Why? That sucks.
Isn't that on Fox though?
I don't know.
I just heard it on the radio, on XM radio. I heard somebody say it, and I never really looked into it. So
their names are silly. They got like the booger eaters and
the gamblers.
Yeah, and the stir fries.
Yeah. Crackheads.
that was
that
was from Atlanta team, isn't it? The Crackheads.
No.
Is there an Atlanta team?
No.
No?
I think the NFL Atlanta team, Falcons, suck so bad. They're like, we don't need
They
to.
could put them in the USFL because
they
they
would
got rid of Matt Ryan.
Then they would still suck, though. You can't have them suck in two leagues. I think Atlanta's taken enough of a beating with the Falcons. They should have put the Georgia Bulldogs as the national championships go, dog. They should have put the national champions of the Georgia Bulldogs, those guys that won the national championship this year.
I just want to say, go Terps. Lady Lacrosse Terps. Go.
You got your Maryland hat on today. It's better than that Georgia Tech crap you had on.
Well, my son got accepted there and decided not to go.
It saved you some money.
Well, I got a free T-shirt from the tour.
They'll send you a bill, don't worry. All right, so we're going to Dover, the Monster Mile. I love this track. Miles, isn't that his name? Miles the Monster?
Yeah.
Love it, man. It's the coolest trophy in NASCAR. So if we're heading to the Monster Mile this weekend, Jamie, what motels should we avoid?
Well, Brad, we've discussed this. When we start going back to tracks, we're in trouble. So what we ought to do second half of the season is tell you what restaurants not to go to. What do you think?
I think we do both.
Okay.
I mean, there's like 600 and something reviews. I don't think we'll have a problem finding bad ones. Problem is, we're going to have to remember when we double up at a track to go back and look and make sure we're not double reviewing. Like,
I think
crackhead hillbilly jumping out of a hole in the middle of the
that was my
hotel
favorite
room.
one. That was awesome.
Between the crackhead hillbilly and the meat straw, I don't know.
Well, we got a common thread again, people.
Yep.
And I don't think Wyndham will ever sponsor us.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Ever.
They might sue us.
No, we're reading word for word, or as I learned on my word of the day last week, verbatim.
You can stay home and verbate, but you ain't verbating.
Oh, verbate ain't what you think.
No verbating in my studio.
That's not. You don't go to the bathroom for verbating.
So where's the first one at? Where don't we?
Days in by Wyndham, of course. Wyndham.
Shocker.
Tabitha R. Very recent review. She, of course, says, I would give negative starts if I could. Not sure what a start is. I'm assuming star, but, assuming starts with ass.
Yep.
So I don't know. But no, she would give negative starts. Had a one-night stay. That was me. My dyslexia came through. She did not. One-night stay here because all other hotels were full. Upon arrival, it was very sketchy. The room hadn't been cleaned in God knows how long. Well, God would know how long. That's me, not her. It reeked of mold and mildew. The walls were filthy, and the sheets looked like they hadn't been washed. There were what appeared to be bloody fingerprints. Hey, first bloody fingerprints we've ever had on a review. Near the front door. And definitely fecal matter spread on the bathroom walls. How do you know that? Do you stick your nose up and go, oh, gross. Ugh.
How do you even get to the point of wiping fecal matter on the wall? Is there no toilet paper here?
I have seen chimpanzees at the Atlanta Zoo smashing poo on the glass windows and spreading it around. So maybe a chimpanzee was in the room the night before?
Or months before. If they're not cleaning it, I mean, who knows?
Well, it is Wyndham, and haven't you noticed they all say, don't know when that room was cleaned.
And neither does Wyndham.
No, they don't. The ceiling was chipping away, she says. There was a large spider's nest.
Well, good. That means she killed it because she said there was.
Along with the spider in the corner of the room as well. They're probably related.
Probably cousins?
Yeah. No hairdryer. It had been stolen. You know what?
I didn't take it.
I don't think there was ever one in there because it is the Wyndham.
I don't have that problem.
And the shower was so gross, none of us could use it. I wish she would have gone in more. She told us about feces on the wall, but wouldn't tell us about the shower.
Well, maybe it was...
Tabitha's leaving some stuff out.
The feces all over the wall prevented her from getting to the shower.
Well, if you shoved it into the shower nozzle, that could block it, I would think, once it dried up.
Maybe.
I'm assuming, I just know my dog's poo, when I don't clean it up after a month, will turn white and hard as a rock because it makes the shovel go ka-ting. So, what's going on? A bug?
I don't know.
Anyway, to top it off, we were so grossed out we were about to leave around 1 a.m. Didn't get there until 11:30, just to find we were blocked in by an ambulance and multiple police cars. Not sure what was going on a few doors down. Not sure I want to know. Well, maybe the chimpanzee checked into that other room. Not a safe place. Stay away at all cost. You know, guys, a lot of people say stay away at all cost. Staying away is free. Remember that. Free.
Yeah, basically, if you ever hear us review a motel on this show, you do not want to stay there. There's no scenario that you can come up with in your head that says it'll be a good idea.
Because I read through hundreds of these and find the worst ones.
I mean, poor Tabitha, she gets a room for one night, and it was obviously there were other people with her because she references we were so grossed out. So we tells me there's more than one. I'm thinking it's probably her and some girlfriends hanging out. Maybe they were going to the Dover race. Maybe they were just going out for the night. But you got bloody fingerprints on the wall, poop on the wall. You got spiders, spider nest, and then you got an ambulance and multiple police cars, which maybe there was somebody murdered in another room, and that person escaped, got in their room, and then took off running. That's where the bloody fingerprints. Maybe it's a serial killer.
But that could cause an infection that would kill you. See, bloody fingerprints and then fecal matter spread on the bathroom walls. If it was the same person, see, my dad was a veteran, and he said over there in Asia, Southeast Asia, they would do what they called punji sticks. They would sharpen bamboo and put human poop on it, and you'd step on it. It was a long, painful death.
Oh, right.
Obviously, my dad didn't step on one because
Infection?
It didn't kill him. So, but you got bloody fingers and fecal matter. Man, that's if in Southeast Asia they can do a punji stick to kill you, and I might be mispronouncing it. Maybe it's punji, but
The fact they don't have a dang hairdryer at this place, I'm out. Count me out. I can't stay there. I can't stay
bald. What would you care?
I don't know.
You like to dry your shiny head with a hairdryer?
Well, if I shave my head, I use the dryer to blow dry the razor so the razor lasts longer. So
okay.
Therefore, I can't stand there and blow on it. That ain't gonna work. All right, where we going?
If you had a job blowing on it, you know what they call it. Alrighty, we're gonna go to Wyndham Garden Inn.
Another Wyndham.
I've seen the outsides of garden inns and thought they looked clean. I didn't know Wyndham owned them.
Now you know they're not clean.
Well, they don't. There's not a cleanliness thing here. And it's Michelle M. She reviewed this just 3 weeks ago, so it's very recent. And she, of course, says, if I could give 0 stars, I would. No, you won't, because you can't. The attitude and hospitality of the staff is horrendous. This is an educated lady. I think she went to Harvard. I'm going to try to read it like I went to Harvard, but I didn't. I went to a state school. So here we go. The attitude and the hospitality of the staff is horrendous. From the moment of check-in, Tasha was rude, belligerent, and unprofessional. I was trying to ask questions regarding several other reservations I had booked for our organization, and I received outrageous responses from her. Her lack of professionalism was disgraceful. Upon entering my room, there was a pungent,
Is it punji sticks?
there's the pungent, nauseating smell. The lampshade was broken, and the carpeting was damp. Due to the lack of help I received at the front desk, I chose to ignore these defaults because I did not need nor want any more aggravation.
You think she meant ignore these defects?
I think she's from Harvard and she calls them defaults. In the evening, I entered the lobby to find several families whom we traveled with for a sporting event being yelled at by Tasha and being called white folk. I asked her several times to refrain from speaking to any of us like that, since the children in our party were all witnesses to this vile disrespect from her towards their parents. That part of the evening ended by the police arriving to de-escalate the situation. I thought the night was over. I was back in my room getting ready to relax with a vibrator when a knock on my door told me otherwise. It was Shondell, the manager, who was not there the entire day. He quickly changed that. His exact words to me were, "I have it on videotape."
What's he got on videotape? Her using the vibrator?
Could be. Because you broke the rule. I don't think he talked that way.
I don't think he's... Hey, so you probably broke them rules there.
You broke them rules. You need to vacate the premises, along with everyone else that was in the lobby, and you need to provide everyone else's names. I questioned several times what rules I broke and what rules were there that were not being followed. Since he was not there to witness anything and was strictly going by hearsay, he could not answer those questions. So I walked into a horrendous situation that Tasha had caused. Since my name is on the one that reserved several rooms, she remembered me from earlier in the day. I was blamed. Our group travels all year long for lacrosse tournaments. Like I said, Harvard! And we know they're white folk. Lacrosse. It's probably just like the Klan.
Lacrosse?
Lacrosse and the Klan go together.
Never heard that
I've
one.
noticed that.
I've never heard that one, but hey.
This weekend we had 46 rooms booked at the Wyndham Garden Inn. Well, my lady, the Wyndham Garden Inn was the problem.
They didn't even got 46 rooms at the Wyndham Garden Inn.
Never in the years that I have been doing this have I ever had any problems or situations in any of the hotels that we've stayed at. The Wyndham brand of hotels has definitely lost our business for sure. Ma'am, the Wyndham Hotels doesn't give a shit.
I don't know. I think Michelle's my what an idiot for the week. Let's just change it.
Well, that's an LB there, isn't it?
What did they do wrong? I mean, okay.
She never explained. Just that they were going ape shit crazy.
Yeah, the room has a bad smell. Okay, that's normal in these crackhead hotels.
But it wasn't her that started it. She says, in the evening, I entered the lobby to find several families. Oh, I'm not doing it in her voice. Several families whom we traveled with for a sporting event being yelled at by Tasha.
Yeah, but what were they doing to Tasha to piss her off?
Maybe they, if you're from Harvard,
And who?
are repelled by being called white folk.
Dang peasants.
That's...
So she says, I asked her several times to refrain from speaking to any of us like that since the children are present. You're not depending on the hostess worker at the Wyndham Garden Inn to raise your kids, lady.
But have you seen lacrosse? They got
Michelle
these sticks, and there's no rule within 5 yards of the other kid, and they whack them over the head, and then they say, "Pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon?"
I actually watched lacrosse. It can be intense, but my problem with this review is not Tasha or Shondell, the manager.
Michelle doesn't answer any questions.
Michelle's my problem. Michelle went up here hoity-toity with a shoe stuck up her butt like she's the greatest thing since sliced bread, acting all snooty.
Driving her Subaru.
Pissed off Tasha because she was rude. Then Tasha gets rude and belligerent right back.
And then Shondell.
And expecting Tasha, who works the check-in desk at the Wyndham Garden Inn, to be professional is That's ridiculous.
I mean, you're at the Wyndham.
Yeah.
And Shondell, wasn't Shondell, the Shondells, was that the one that Billy Idol redid their song?
Maybe.
I think so. Here we come now, Simone. I think that's it.
I had no clue what you were talking about till you sang it. So
I think so. Anyway,
oh Lord,
don't stay at a Wyndham, folks.
Yep. If you've learned anything from this show, it's to avoid the Wyndhams at all costs.
They're everywhere.
All right, give us one more.
Well, I got two more, man.
Or give us two more.
They're short ones. Capital N, Stephen H.
Short one. Story of your life.
They call me Pinky for for a reason. I will never stay at this hotel again. Upon walking into the room, it looked decent, yet the bedspread had cigarette burn holes in them.
Awesome.
The free Wi-Fi they included with your stay does not work. TV is from the 90s.
How do you know that?
It's probably a tube TV.
Like we had?
Yeah. The phone in the room didn't work. Around 12 noon, the room service came to take towels and says she'll be right back with fresh towels. After 2 hours of waiting, I asked the front desk for towels. They said ask housekeeping. Huh. It was like a catch-22 there.
What's funny is they probably don't have room service.
Yeah.
She gave her towels to the people next door.
Well, yeah, probably, and said they were clean.
Yeah, here's
I found her cleaning other rooms. Well, at least she cleans them. Wyndham does not, according to the reviews. And asked, could we please have some towels? And she says, okay, when I get to it. But didn't she before say she'd get them immediately? Well, and then Steven says, are you kidding me? This place offers no refunds.
Duh.
It's such a terrible atmosphere and no Wi-Fi. Rude housekeeping. I'll be leaving to stay at a different place and forfeiting my second night stay without my money back. I would recommend sleeping in your car and saving the money, rather than wasting it on the lie they sell you here at the Capital Inn.
The Capital, man. That's right there. It's not a chain. That tells you.
It's lower than the Wyndham.
Yeah.
Wyndham said no when they applied to be a franchise.
But look, Steven, has nothing really to be mad about. He says the room, it looked decent. That's way better than we've got.
I think he's just ticked off because he didn't get his towels.
Now, the cigarette burns in the bedspread.
Seems the norm for a crappy hotel.
Yeah, but I could understand being pissed about that. The free Wi-Fi not working, I could see being mad about that. I don't care what year the TV's from because I really don't watch TV at hotels because I don't like watching commercials.
Well, usually you're going somewhere,
Yeah.
so what the heck?
It's not like you sit there and watch TV unless you're watching the 24 Hours of Daytona and Helio Castroneves.
Helio!
So, what would piss me off, though, that Steven has every right to be mad about is some stranger comes in at noon, takes his towels, and says she'll be right back. Never comes back. Then he asks for some towels from housekeeping, and she basically tells him to go pound sand. That would make me mad.
Then he hunts her down, and she says, when I get to it.
So, his review should essentially say, no Wi-Fi, rude housekeeping, cigarette burnt sheets. The end.
And I'm sorry, if you read these reviews, you would have brought your own bedding.
Yeah, and it's not like, I guarantee you the Capital Inn's not 5-star reviews and then Steven's 1. So, it's not like he didn't know. I mean, unless Steven...
That's like the beach, my balls hang low in.
Yeah, the beach shack inn.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't expecting much because it was called the Butt Munch Hotel at the beach. Was that the name of it, the Butt Munch?
I don't understand why he wouldn't recommend sleeping in your car. He said, I would recommend sleeping in your car and saving the money rather than wasting it on the lie. He said, I would. Okay. I thought it said I wouldn't recommend it. I would. Just don't stay at the Capital Inn, people. Find the Hilton.
Pointer's Motel.
Yeah.
First of all, Ashley W. But this is like 2 sentences, but we need to discuss some of the issues here. Ashley W. says, small bathroom. Smallest bathroom I've ever seen. Can't even wipe.
That is
People.
Awesome. That is.
She said, can't even wipe. Does that mean she didn't?
Oh, that's the best thing I've
What
ever
the
seen.
hell?
That's about like the one chick saying that she shaved.
The bed was so broken, it felt like we were sinking in the middle. Plus, they raised the price from $40 to $50. People, if you're staying at a hotel that only charges $40 to $50, and you ignored those name brands that are usually rated 3.8 to 4.5, Holiday Inn, Hilton, Marriott, you deserve to sit in a bathroom that you can't white in. Just get you some wet ones, go out in the parking lot and clean your bum, and throw it on the ground for housekeeping to pick up. But $40, you're going to have a dirty bum.
Here's what we don't know. How big of a girl is Ashley?
She could be 800 pounds and wouldn't fit in my master bedroom at home.
Exactly. So
She would fit in the sunken tub, but water would probably get out. But
So before we, what's the name of this place? Pointers?
Pointners, Poytners Motel.
So
Pointners.
before we just completely rag on Pointers, maybe we need to know how big Ashley was, because maybe the bathroom's not that small. Maybe she's just that big.
I didn't see a picture attached to her review. I've uploaded my picture for reviews.
Like you said, $40 to $50. What? I mean, seriously, we paid
That's
more.
what a campground costs.
We paid more than that for the Crackhead Inn in Daytona, where you would legit get murdered in the middle of the night.
$40 to $50 is what you pay for your lot at the KOA, and you bring your house with you.
It costs more than that to camp at the racetrack.
I mean, what the hell, Ashley?
I'd charge you more than that to camp in my backyard.
And I'm sorry. I'm going to find a way to clean my bum. She couldn't even do it.
Yeah, walk out of the bathroom, wipe your butt in the...
Stand in the tub, wipe it, and play 3 points
Or
from
maybe
the
just
tub to the toilet.
aim your butt towards the tub and then wipe in the tub and flush in the toilet.
Go to the office and clean your bum.
Like you said, go to the parking
Hand
lot.
it to them. Here.
Walk out in the parking
my
lot,
dirty
get the
wet
water,
ones.
get the water hose out,
Yeah.
squirt it off.
And if they ask you what you're doing, say, I just gave you guys a bidet. Good day, bidet.
All right, give me some track history and some facts on Dover, man.
All right, 1966, Melvin L. Joseph Construction Company began construction on the Dover Downs International Speedway, which specialized in horse racing and auto racing. The racetrack was completed 3 years later. That seems like a long time. And its first race was on July 6, 1969. The inaugural race, known as the Mason-Dixon 300, was won by Richard Petty.
Mason-Dixon.
I've told you, see? Being from Maryland, they go, yeah, a Yankee. But it's south. Delaware is south, too.
It's just funny to me.
In fact, it's horrible slavery's just horrible. But Delaware was the last state to outlaw slavery because they went with the Union. It was 1866, a year after the Civil War, that slavery was outlawed in Delaware. That's sick, dude.
Insane, man.
But anyway,
Now we're getting
there's some history for
that's
you.
Delaware history.
That's some Delaware history.
Back to that Monster Mile history.
That Monster Mile. During 1971 season, the Speedway removed all the events not sanctioned by NASCAR to keep focus on the 2 NASCAR Winston Cup series that they held each year. Each was 500 miles. So Richard won a 200-mile less race. So they peaked in 2000 and 2001 with 135,000 fans there. They had a race right after September 11.
I remember that.
Cal, this is just awesome. I've got to point this out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the race.
Yep.
And it was the Cal Ripken 400!
And your dog's named after Cal Ripken.
Because Cal Ripken is the greatest human being after Dale Earnhardt Jr. to ever win. And this connects them forever! Anyway, there's a casino there now.
On the back straightaway?
On the back straightaway. They've removed a bunch. They've actually went for up to 140,000. They dropped it down to 113,000
For capacity?
for capacity. You know,
There's plenty.
there's been some boring races there where people have won 3-4 laps ahead of the pack.
Used to be dominated by Jimmy Johnson and
Yep,
Canals.
Jimmy Johnson could tear it up.
Maybe he'll come back and win this weekend.
He needs to come back to NASCAR. I miss him.
What else you got?
That's about it. Speedway Motorsports acquired the track last year.
Yeah, I think so. Big rumor is that Speedway Motorsports bought it to do away with it.
Well, you know, they don't put any money into their track, so
Well, we know that. They put money in their pockets, but not into
maybe
their
they should
facilities.
send some of those bathtub urinals from Atlanta up to Dover. That'll ruin it.
As long as they have toilet paper for Denny Hamlin this time, we'll be all right.
Yeah, but they kind of they need to keep one date there, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to lose one race there, and it's going to go to, like, Nashville
Well, they already
Fairground.
moved one last year to Nashville.
So, you don't think the other one's going to go to the Fairground?
I hope not.
Well, that's because that's your home.
That was my home track growing up.
We're going into Dover. Let's get you ready for your fantasy picks. So, I just kind of went through some drivers to highlight, and then I'll give you who my picks are. So, we're going to start with Kyle Larson.
You already went with Cal. I'm going to write mine down.
Well, that's not who I'm going with. I'm just going to give you some stats first.
Okay.
So, we'll start with stats. Kyle Larson, he's raced 13 races there. He has 1 win, 10 top 10s, and an average finish of 7.0. Chase Elliott has 11 races there, 1 win, 8 top 10s, an average finish of 10.5. Martin Truex, he has 31 races there, 3 wins, 18 top 10s, and an average finish of 11.7. William Byron, 7 races there, 0 wins, 3 top 10s, and an average finish of 12.9. The Busch Brothers, we'll start with Kyle. 33 races, 3 wins, 20 top 10s, and an average finish of 14.2. Brother Kurt Busch, 42 races, 1 win, 12 top 10s, and an average finish of 17.9. And your favorite boy, Ryan Blaney, has 11 races, 0 wins, 2 top 10s, and an average finish of 18.9. For this week, I'm going to go with Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson. I'm going to do the double Kyle attack. And then I'm going to go with Reddick as my dark horse.
Mm-hmm.
I think Reddick is... I don't have stats for Reddick because he hasn't really run here much, but Reddick or Kurt... I wouldn't be surprised. Kurt's going to be ready to redeem himself after wrecking at Talladega. So I'm going to go Kyle, Reddick, Kurt.
Interesting. I'm going with Ryan Blaney. And then Dale Jr. Because Dale Jr. is always winning.
Like hot sauce.
Uh-huh.
Makes everything better.
Yep. Dale Jr. He's going to win.
Hey,
That's my second pick.
he has just as good of a chance as Denny Hamlin.
He already won the Cal Ripken 400.
Yeah.
So he's always winning. Dark horse, I'm going with Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon. So out of my 4 picks, you'll notice there are 3 Chevys, 1 Ford.
So you think it's going to be a Chevy?
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm going with Ryan Blaney. He's due. He's been running good. I decided not to go with Chase because he's my favorite, and maybe he'll win if I don't pick him.
That's kind of my theory with Chase. I wanted to go with... I was thinking about going with Chase and Truex, but Truex is consistent, and so is Chase and Ryan. So, I mean, really, Chase, Truex, or Ryan Blaney wouldn't be bad to put on your fantasy roster because they are consistent. As long as they finish up top, they'll get you primo points. So,
I wouldn't doubt if a Trackhouse car wins.
hey, at this point, Trackhouse can win absolutely anywhere they go.
And I like Pitbull. Do, 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 do.
I'd never listened to
Okay.
Pitbull until recently.
Really?
No. I mean, I guess I've heard his songs on just anything that's to hype you up type of music.
There's some ads with his songs on it too.
Yeah, I guess that's where I've heard him from. But, well, guys, that's a wrap pretty much. Thanks to everyone who follows this show, everyone who shares us on social media, everybody that listens to this show each week. We really appreciate it. We love all of you. As always, a big shout out and a big thank you goes to Janet for all her support.
Love Janet.
Dude, you should have seen this cake she baked. She put a picture of it on Twitter. Dude, it looked phenomenal. It was like a 4 or 5 layer cake. It looked awesome. Janet can cook. And she always posts pictures of these cakes she makes, and they're always phenomenal looking. So, Janet, again, thank you for supporting the show. Everybody, make sure you check us out on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter. It's @CarBackwards on Twitter is our handle. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review.
Do you know I follow us now?
On Apple?
No.
Spotify?
On Twitter.
On Twitter?
I'm Twitterfied now.
Oh, yes. I had to teach you how to use Twitter, but I'm glad to see you finally use it. Check out our website, guys. It's racecarbackwards.com. Any support we get, we greatly appreciate it. Tell your friends. Like I said, share it on social media. Anything you do, we greatly appreciate it. We love all of you. Thanks again. Have a great week, guys.
Love ya.
Thanks for listening to Race Car Spelled Backwards.